Yay, hi. So this is recorded. But yay, welcome to the structured consultation. It's going to be delivered by me and Maggie as well. So I will screen share. Yes. Can you see this? Yes, you can see it, right? So basically, I will just explain a bit before we open a Q&A of how the structure works. So in this session right now, I will not only explain about okay, so this is the structure that you need to have as an LCP, but also the logic behind it and why we designed the structure this way. And also we're going to give you a sneak peek of the JD as well, proposed by the MC. Cool. So yeah, I think we can directly go. So basically, the flow of designing functional structure should be in this way. So if your VP or your TL want to design how many members or people that I need in my LC, it should be based on first a goal. So how many exchange goal that you want to achieve and how much growth that you want to achieve in your term. Because why? By knowing the goal that you want to achieve, we can know how many people and in what role the people needs to be to decide the structure. And then the second one is focus areas. So focus areas is wins or wicks, the last thing that we have is in which area that you want to put a lot of resources to. So for example, because we're focusing a lot in OGV, so we should put more resources in OGV, for example. And then the next one is strategies. So after we have the focus areas, what will be the strategy to actually achieve the focus areas and the key wins. And then after that, the resources. So resources mainly how many people that I think I can get to actually be in the organization and finance as well. Because the more people that you have, the more investment that you're going to have for the people as well. And then when you already set the goal, focus area, strategies, and also resources, then you can decide the structure. So that's how it runs. So if you don't have strategy and focus areas yet, and you already decide the structure, then it's okay, so what is the purpose of the people then? It's more into I have this amount of people and I want to just put it in a random place, rather than this is the role and the structure that I need, and I need to find the people to fill it. So that should be the logic of structure. And then this is kind of structure principles. So what is the first thing that I should consider when I want to design a structure? This is the thing that I said earlier as well. It's more into the right people at the right place, rather than the right place for the people available. So you need to have the structure first. What is the thing that I need to support in the achievement of my goal? Then what kind of people that I need, rather than the opposite of it. And then is it possible to change structure? It's actually very possible. For example, when I was in LCVP, I think there's true restructuring in my term. Why? Because we realized that the people in that role doesn't really contribute and it's not their strengths. So it's better for us to shift it in another role, or for example just close the role and then have another role. So it's actually the structure that you create now is not fixed for the entire year. But then you need to make sure that you have the weight in of why I need to change the structure in the middle of the term. So again, don't oh, this is the structure that I want to have for the entire term. Actually, you can start to shift it, but remember again about the principle, why you need to change it, and which strategies that you change that makes you want to change the structure. And then the next part is what if I want to create a new role outside the standard role? So for example, I want to create new role that is not OGV marketing, IGT, or TM finance, for example. Actually, it's connected to the previous one as well. The role should support the achievement of the goal. So if you really want to have different kind of role, the strategy and the key focuses should also a part of the role as well. So for example, if you want to have role A, then the strategy and the key wins should have that kind of focuses. Yeah. So I think that is the logic of when you want to put a structure on a role in the LC, basically. Yeah. And then you don't need a lot of people as well to achieve high amount of goals. Again, remember EB, TLs, and members has different managerial roles. So you also need to see what is the main JD that the EB needs to do. So in this session as well, we will explain a bit about like the JD in general as well. Yeah, Maggie, you want to add something?
Yeah, and I think like just to echo the thing as well about like really starting from your focus areas, because like whether your focus area is like, okay, my focus area is to like improve my, for example, for MC, like our focus area is to improve, make sure that we improve the front part of our customer flow. So to place more attention on like improving like how we're doing or how we're getting people into the sales funnel. So that's our focus area. Our strategies falls under that, which is like to do sales or and to also like improve our like processes with IR. So like that's the two key like strategies that we have. And then looking down, like then we place people to that specific area. So it's not like, oh, like I need to get 5 people, so let's get 5 people into my team, and then let's give them some job to do. Like it always starts with like, what is my goal and what in the customer flow are we like seeing troubles in, and then like how do people like fall, how do the positions fall under that. So for example, if you're having some open like problems and you need to have like in a way target market that works for your specific like market reality, and you need a digital marketing to be able to get there, you also need to consider like, okay, what is the person really going to do like that contributes to that area, or what do we mean by digital marketing, like, and how does it fall into the grand kind of focus areas that you want to look into. So things just like that.
Yeah. So like for example, if you just want to have digital marketing to manage like uni page or this kind of thing, like do you really need a VP for it? Like straightforward, like those kind of stuff. So I think that's that. If you have any question, you can take notes first. So like we can have like question and answer session after this explanation. Yeah. So like after this, it's going to be more like EB structure suggestion. So this is a suggestion of like what kind of structure that you should have based on here, and then we also I'm going to explain like the thought process of like why we decided. Okay, so we're going to outgoing global volunteer first. Before I start showing you about like the structure in general. So basically, the key focuses of like global volunteer, OGV especially, is like first is SOP implementation, is to make sure that the process are fast enough for like EPs to actually go throughout the customer funnel. And then the second one is IR. And then like for marketing as well, it's more focused on utilizing the physical marketing channel, and then move forward to like digital lead nurturing, digital marketing, and also university relations. So like we need to make sure that every marketing in every LC already have like a strong presence in physical marketing, so they can start expanding to like another channels of marketing basically. So like you will see later in here like how the structure is set to like supporting those key focuses and strategies. Cool. So like for tier 1, basically the suggestion is to have like 2 VP marketing, and then like we don't have yet like the specific of like what is the role of the TLs in VP marketing, but then the general part is like to define based on like the channels that we have. For example, one VP marketing can focus more on physical marketing, and the rest can focus more into like for example digital or university relations or like events, like this kind of thing. So like that is like the division of it. But I think if you want to ask more specifically, you can ask like Jason as well. And then like for VP OGV, basically we have like, so the suggestion is like 4 team leaders, which is having more people in like customer experience delivery, which is like the customer flow of like the funnel, like the conversion, and then like for 1 TLs for IR development. Why? Because like basically the thought process is having 1 person responsible in doing IR and consistently like trying to connect and like making sure that the standards, the delivery of the IR is like delivered fully by like a team leader. Yeah, so like if you see as well, like in other entities, like they always have like 1 person responsible, like members or like TLs that are focusing on IR. Yeah, so that's one. And then like the second one is the same as well, but then it has 3 team leaders. So like 2 in customer experience delivery and then IR development 1. The VP marketing is also still the same, so I have 2 VP marketing. And then like for tier 3, which is 26 until 60 realization, is like this is 2 team leader, sorry, I haven't changed it. So 2 team leader, which is like customer experience delivery 2, and then like the IR, the one that is responsible for IR can be the VP or like anyone in one of the TL as well. And then like suggestion is only have 1 VP marketing to really focus on utilizing the physical marketing channel. And then like the last one is basically 1 VP OGV with members, and also VP marketing that can focus more again in utilizing the physical marketing channel. Yeah, so that's for OGV. Again, if you have any question, you can take notes first, so like we can go directly. And then for incoming global talent, you can also see like the logic of why we decide to have like the team leaders in those respective role. Yeah, so basically for like tier 1, which is like more than 20 realization, so like we have two VP IGT with 2 team leaders, and then the team leaders is consisting of sales, which is like finding new sales and account delivery, so like managing the existing account. Yeah, so like that is the separation of the role, is to make sure that the flow of like the leads and the opens that we have are not like postponed because we don't have enough people. So we have like 2 people responsible for like doing it. And then it's the same thing as like tier 2 as well. The difference is just the amount of the members. For tier 3 is focusing on having only VP IGT with members. With division of the role, it depends on the VP IGT based on the strategy and the pipeline, and the same as like tier 4 as well. So like the suggestion of having TL is for tier 1 and tier 2 of IGT. Yeah, if you have any more questions, you can also ask Eileen. But then like the thought process of it is to have people focusing on sales and also account delivery. Yeah. Cool. So that's basically like the suggestion of structure, and then you can also see in job description. So in here's more into like what will be the respective VP do in the VP role. Yeah. Again, so before I go to actually explain like each of the suggested role that we have, like I will show you how actually we design like the JD. So basically in the JD, the basic thing that you need to have is like the role, the responsibilities, the competencies the person need and will learn in that role, additional information like MOS, KPI, synergies, like accountable to, like logistics required means like the time, like how long that he needs to spend the time in the role, like what kind of things that the person will focus more on, and skills required. So like what kind of skills is required to be in that position. Yeah. And then like we also will connect it with like the core competence, the competency model, and also principles. So if you haven't seen this, basically like the competence model that we use is based on like the core competence, which is the mind, and the hand competence, which is like the functional skills. And like this is the thing that we need to consider as well when we design the JD. And then the principles means that the JD of TL, EB, and also members will obviously be different. Yeah. And then like just to give you a sneak peek for those that haven't seen this, so this is basically like the principle that the EB should have, and the work value, skills, and time that they need to put on. Yeah.
And I just want to add one note from here is that principles here, managing managers, implies that you have a structure with like team leaders. So for example, some of the startups, you will not use this one. You'll use managing team. You'll be managing like people directly, not managing managers. So it depends on your like level, but this one's for LCs of size delivering like up to 25 and above.
Okay, so that's just like a sneak peek for it. Yeah, so like this is how we put like the principles and also the competence to like the JD basically. So like the required competencies needs to be based on like the hand and the core competences as well, and then like the required skills and like the logistics is based on like the managerial principles that you need to have based on like the respective role. Yeah. So basically when we are creating like the JD as well, we also need to know like what kind of competence, what kind of skills that the people need to have by actually joining the role. So like you shouldn't not only think about like, oh, I think I best work like with this people if like she or he in this position. I think like based on experience, like she or he are good in this position, because I think sometimes like when you are facing with a lot of choices of like where to put the people on in, you also need to know like what kind of managerial skills and also competence and functional skills that the person have to put in best in what position the best basically.
Yeah, as just a bit of like how I made my some selection choices is like for back office you always want to put someone who's done operational like experience before, and if it's like a front office role, ideally they should have like delivered some exchange before of some sort, so it's like, you know, it's beneficial in that way and that they're able to have the basic skills available. But if you have someone who's, you know, only being back office, then you know that like to not repeat that sort of like mistake in your term to put a new member into back office, because one, they don't know how operations works, second, it's harder for them to move up because they have wider and like gaps throughout their as experience as well. Like it's quite rare to see like, you know, a back office person come into a front office and being able to achieve in the first in like the immediate peak. It takes them like 1 or 2 peaks to be able to perform, which means that you are sacrificing a bit of like achievement for the short term.
And then I think like consider again like in the beginning that what we share, which is the goal, the focus, like the key strategies, and also like the things that you want to achieve in general, because like we only have one term, and then like to actually know like how to achieve and go there faster, like we need to put the right people faster
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So
and if you are like putting someone who's not had the operation experience, I think it's best to let us know, because in that way we can also support you in transition in different ways, because they need different things. So for example, like for some of the people that like that have never been operated before, like we give them like more support in that aspect so they can catch up faster.
yeah, because like usually back office, like the scope of learning should be bigger, because like you also need to know like operations in general as well. Yeah. So that's that. So like this is basically the summary of it. I will share it to you later so you can see it. Yeah. So like this is the proposed job description. I will not also explain it like one by one, like specifically what is it, because like we're going to share this to you anyway. But then like you can see, we divided based on like the responsibility, MOS, KPI, key requirements, and then like for this we also embedded like the competencies, like the principles of like what is the VP needed, and like the main functions of like the job description. So like you can see for outgoing global volunteer, mostly it considers of like the customer flow and also like team management as well. Yeah, marketing is also considered of like the customer flow and team management. You can see that later, and you can see also like the main MOS and then like the KPIs of it. Yeah, and then IGT as well, divided into like team management and customer flow. TM mostly on like TM processes and team ensuring team standards implementation, and then finance, based on finance standard basically. Yeah, so like that is the thing. You can refer to this like later. We will share to you, and I think this will help you a lot in like designing the job description that your VP will have, especially for those that have more like than one. For example, like have more than one marketing. So you need to make sure that the vision of the role is like very clear of like which kind of channels or like platforms of marketing that I want each VP focus on. Yeah. So that's that. So basically, do you have any question for this? I think we can share this, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, let me stop this recording first.